Yes, yeah, we're live. Everything's been
Awesome.
live. I did a
Yes.
3, 2, 1 thumbs up, and then we cut to
All
us doing nothing.
Yep, here we go, guys. We are live. What is up, everybody? This is the Nerdy News Hour. It is like the news, but for nerds. And obviously, we're still working out the kinks. So, sorry about that. So, guys, we got a lot of awesome topics. I'm sitting down with some awesome nerds. First up, Anime Dan Thomas. Dan, what's going on, man? How's the week been for you?
If you like cartoons and video games, it's pretty impossible to have a bad week right now, so I'm doing great.
Yeah, man. A lot of good stuff going on there. Justin, what is up, man? How's the week been for you? What's going on with Persona 5?
I really wish I was playing Persona 5 right now.
Yep, that's kind
I
of
really wish I could call off work today and keep playing Persona 5.
Yeah, I have heard that is dope, and we are going to get into that. Oh, and everybody who's chiming in, and to be honest, like, this thing always rolls in. We gain people as we go along, so there's not probably a lot of people in here. I'll mention this probably a couple times throughout the show, but I am doing a giveaway on this show today, live. I'm going to be asking a trivia question or a nerd card question at the end of the show, and the first person to answer with a comment live will win a poster, a Transformers The Last Night poster, and I will ship that out to you as long as you live in the continental United States. I've made that mistake before. So let's roll right into today's first topic, and it is the new Warriors show and Squirrel Girl. You heard that correctly. Squirrel Girl. So there's going to be a new Warriors show with Squirrel Girl possibly leading the team, and the official press release really didn't give us a lot of information, but here's some stuff from it which will kind of frame our discussion. New Warriors revolves around 6 young people with powers living and working together, with powers and abilities on the opposite end of the spectrum of the Avengers. The New Warriors want to make a difference in the world, even if the world isn't ready. With freeform focused on a group dubbed Becomers, those experiencing a series of firsts in life, including first love, first jobs, New Warriors explores the journey into adulthood, except in this world, they're not quite super and not yet heroes, and the guys can be as terrifying as bad dates. The series will feature Marvel fan favorite Squirrel Girl, aka Doreen Green, as a totally empowering fangirl who is described as tough, optimistic, and a natural leader. Doreen is confident and has the powers of a squirrel. She's acrobatic, can fight, and talk to other squirrels. Her most important trait is said to be her faith in people and her ability to teach them to believe in themselves. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Squirrel Girl or the New Warriors. I did like the role they played in the original Civil War, and I liked the newer run that they did with Scarlet Spider, but that's mostly because I love that series, and that solo series was canceled, and the only place to read Scarlet Spider was in the New Warriors. So, to be completely real with you, I know very little about Freeform, but I've come to understand that this is a network that mostly gives stuff for like a tween audience. So I can see this type of show playing, but I gotta be honest, I still think it's a little weird. So I want to go to Dan first. Dan, am I crazy, or is this a little weird? And what do you think about the information that we've got so far?
You know, I don't think there's anything weird about, another live-action Marvel TV show. I think we should expect a lot of these to start filling up the air, but I think going for a comedy is kind of out of nowhere, because they specifically said the genre of this show is going to be a comedy. So it's going to be like the day-to-day hijinks of Squirrel Girl and the New Warriors, which is going to be maybe entertaining, maybe a little too hacky. But yeah, this network is focused on teens and tweens. It used to be ABC Family, Freeform. So a lot of that audience, and hopefully they can put together something good.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So I have my own things about it. Never been a huge Squirrel Girl fan. I like her conceptually. Like, she's beaten Thanos. She's beaten Doctor Doom. You know what I mean? Like, she's beaten... she's unbeatable. That's her thing in the comics.
She like, in canon, is the strongest Marvel character, essentially, right? Like, she beats Wolverine one-on-one. Stuff like that's impossible to do.
Right, arguably the most powerful character. The New Warriors is an interesting choice. The thing is, so they have a dark history. You know, like if you look at Civil War, the original Civil War, they were involved in the inciting incident, the catalyst for that whole event at the Stanford University, and that was pretty ridiculous. As I said, I'm a huge Scarlet Spider fan, and Kane, not Ben Reilly. I like Ben Reilly, but I loved Kane. I like anti-heroes and stuff. So I'm just plainly know that that's probably not going to happen. He's not going to be in this series because of the Sony thing that we talked about last week, and that breaks my heart. So I got to be honest, but I had this weird thought yesterday. As I was doing research for this, I started to realize, look, the show just isn't probably marketed or made for me, and that's totally okay. Like, it's just like in comic books. Like, there's a group of comic books out there that are for a specific type of people, and those people really aren't me, and that's okay. So, Justin, what do you think about all this news, man? Are you a huge Squirrel Girl fan? What do you think about this show?
Squirrel Girl is an interesting character. I'm excited for the rumors that she's going to be in the new Marvel vs. Capcom game.
Ooh, nice.
Should be pretty zany, pretty crazy. I haven't really read a lot of her comics. I have a couple of fans who are friends who are absolute Squirrel Girl fans, absolute Squirrel Girl nuts. When they told me that she defeated Doom, I had to go see for myself because no one defeats Doom.
Right.
Absolutely no one. And I think it'll be a little funny, a little interesting, but like you said, probably not for me. I've checked out Freeform on occasion, and they've got what? They've got like Pretty Little Liars, and then they do a Harry Potter weekend every other weekend or something like that. So
yeah,
Freeform's
I'm like
not normally
totally not familiar with them at all. So
yeah, they used to be ABC Family, and
Oh,
then
okay.
they switched over to Freeform. So not really a channel I would normally check out on my own. I'll probably take a look at the episode just to see where it goes, see if it's really funny enough for me to keep watching. But with the general demographic that Freeform tends to target, I don't really think it's going to be something for me.
yeah, to be honest, like I'm more excited about the Cloak and Dagger series that they have working. Like honestly, that is more intriguing to me. And I like those characters a little bit more, and I think the idea of that relationship playing out is really cool. This seems, I don't know, New Warriors. I'm gonna check it out. Like I'll check it out just to see. And I tell you what,
I think it'll be worth watching the first episode. You know what I mean? Just like,
Yeah.
just for absurdity's sake. Like, how are they
Right.
gonna do that? I want to see. Like, is the squirrel a little puppet, like peeking up over the side of a fence, like
CGI
yuck,
squirrels
yuck,
or
yuck.
whatever?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That's a good point. Do you think that that's part of it? Do you think that that's the thing? Like they chose Squirrel Girl? Because here's the thing: like Anna Kendrick was rumored for Squirrel Girl in the MCU, and that was a while ago, and that kind of popped off and buzzed, and people were suggesting that maybe she would be in a movie or something like that. But this is kind of an interesting version of that. I feel like they take some things that maybe just don't fit in. And Jeff Loeb dude. Marvel TV is expanding. You've said this. You opened with this. You said it's not surprising.
yeah,
that they're doing
that they're
live
gonna,
action
and
Warriors.
to fill up, more TV slots. They're gonna have to break out into beyond the, kind of like action comedy genre we've seen them do with like The Flash or Arrow and stuff like that. They're
Agreed.
gonna have to kind of broaden into comedy or. Who knows? Maybe even like a more educational spectrum. It'd be interesting to see what they do for sure.
It's possible. Justin, what do you think? Do you think that that's part of the reason that they went with Squirrel Girl to make these headlines, to get this buzz going? Like, is that because it's legitimate? I want to see what they're going to do with it, so I'm going to chime in. You know what I mean?
I definitely think so. Hasn't the Squirrel Girl comic, the new relaunched Squirrel Girl comic they came out with, been really, really popular lately among people? Has
I
it
got
done
to
really
be honest.
well?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
I've been seeing it a lot of places. I don't really follow comics, so I'm just going to assume it's been doing well based on that. And I mean, if that's the case, do have a lot of people like clamoring for Squirrel Girl, a lot of buzz around here, and Squirrel Girl gives you the license to be pretty much as crazy as Deadpool. You can go that insane
She is like
with
kind of
what
a
you're
joke character,
doing.
so like
Yeah,
just by
she is.
being
She
there,
Yeah.
is.
she can
She's
do
kind
the
of
joke.
throwaway. Yeah, I mean, it really does feel like that's the vibe they're going for. It could be really good. I just want to say to everybody who's been joining in, because you see me, I'm on my phone. I'm inviting people on the app to join the show or whatever. So thank you for joining. If you did, you guys might want to stay with us for the whole time, or come back later, because I am giving away one of those Transformers posters. I know you guys probably saw me doing that stuff yesterday in the video and whatnot, but I went to an IMAX screening of footage for Transformers. I'm giving away a poster at the end of the show. We're going to ask a question, and the first person to comment the answer, and I'll monitor the chat, wins the poster. I'll ship it out to you if you live in the continental United States. But I think we could leave the Squirrel Girl topic for now. Is there any last things you guys want to say about Squirrel Girl?
I don't know. Not really. I think give it a shot. I don't think it's anything to be mad about, but it
No.
probably isn't going to change superhero TV as we know it.
Yeah, no. I mean, to be real, like I'm way more excited for Inhumans. I'm way more excited for actually the Runaways, which looks to have similar themes on Hulu. So I'm maybe more excited about that. But Justin, I mean, what do you think? Any last words, Squirrel Girl, before we go on?
Please give me her as a character in new Marvel vs. Capcom so I can make a team of her and Phoenix Wright. Thank you.
Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka. All right, let's roll into the next topic. This is a hot button topic. I know we're all excited to talk about this, so let's get into it. It is the live action Akira movie and the possibility of this being done by Jordan Peele. I'm pretty sure any self-respecting nerd is a huge fan of Akira, and even if you're not a big nerd, you've probably heard of Akira. It has reached this level of pop cultural relevance that's really rarefied. But I'm assuming if you are a nerd that you saw the movie or you maybe even read those huge volumes of manga. Now, here's the thing. Warner Brothers has had the rights to make this movie for years, but they have been unable to get the project out of development hell. Then Jordan Peele made Get Out, which has been a huge success. That thing is a juggernaut of a success. It's absolutely crazy. Now, it would appear that Warner Brothers is courting the breakout director to helm the Akira project. This is literally the dopest news ever. I've been a huge fan of Jordan since first catching the Key and Peele show, and when those two guys decided not to do that show anymore and go separate ways, I was kind of really curious as to far as like what they would do next, and I wanted to follow their careers respectively. I'm incredibly happy for Jordan's success with Get Out, and I think that he may have the perfect sensibility to handle aspects of this project. However, I do have some concerns regarding the budget, how he'd handle it, and the effects and how they would handle a guy coming from a really indie world when it comes to big blockbuster stuff. But nonetheless, I am excited. Justin, talk to me about your love for Akira, and what do you think about Jordan Peele being courted for this? Do you think he'd be a good fit for this film?
I mean, Akira is an excellent movie. It's a cult classic. You can't not love Akira. I vehemently believe that. I can pretty much walk into any building that I know may have some sort of nerd in it and just randomly shout Tetsuo, and I will almost assuredly get a Kaneda back. So
yes.
people definitely love Akira. Akira's great. Akira is great. Jordan Peele himself, absolutely awesome director. I've heard great things about Get Out. Have not seen it yet, but I have seen quite a bit of stuff on the Key and Peele show. I really, really like that show. Just like you, I'm really, really sad to see it gone. Yep. As far as the project in the whole, I don't really have a lot of faith in U.S. anime adaptations. Like, I saw Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell was good, okay, sort of like straddling that line for me. Right. There's been a lot of news recently. Netflix is doing a Death Note show, and they've got some like Americanized actors for that. The only real thing I really like about that project as a whole is that Willem Dafoe is playing Ryuk. Yes, but
it's perfect for that.
I don't really have a lot of faith in that project being good or U.S. anime adaptations as a whole being good. So even if we have this like lightning in a bottle, like great director with a great property, I still feel like there may be some case of executive meddling that ends up making this project not turn out as great as it could be.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. You know, to your point about American adaptations of anime, yeah, they've been kind of rocky. I like Ghost in the Shell, and we've talked about this a little bit, but it's just missing something. Like, it just feels a little... It doesn't have the emotional resonance that I think that those like plot devices deserve, and the themes they're playing with should have really struck chords, and I just don't. I think it falls short in that area, which is probably the most important area. Jordan Peele has an incredible sensibility, and like, you know, Get Out deals with racial issues, and he does that in a really like good, mature way. So it's interesting that they would look to court him. Now, here's the thing. Like, let's be real. This is Hollywood. He's a name. They want to attach a name that's popular to this project to try to give it a boost. So that's what they're doing. But from our end as fans, it is kind of cool, and I can see a thing where it'd be like, well, he has the sensibility to handle this race thing in a good way with tact and responsibility. So it's possible that he could right some of the perceived or actual wrongs of this whitewashing thing, or, you know, different issues like that. My big concern goes to the fact that Akira is visually ridiculous, and
that's a great way to describe it.
It is. It's just visually ridiculous, and I just don't know if he plays in that world. You know what I mean? Like, Dan, look, you're Anime Dan, so talk to me about Akira, brother. Talk to me about Jordan Peele. And what do you think about this? Like, do you think he's a good fit, or is this just Hollywood trying to capitalize on success?
So, in all the articles I read about this, the main connection they're drawing between the two is Get Out is doing very, very well on a relatively low budget. It's doing, as far as income is going. And they've had so many snafus with the Akira production process so far that they do not want to lose more money on this IP. You know what I mean? So they're going to try and use his... I guess they're pinning someone like this is a known director. He makes quality stuff, and he can do it responsibly with a low budget. But that, to me, directly clashes with, a movie like Akira. Every time I think of a live-action adaptation of that, that's not going to be a cheap movie to make if you want to make it as striking as I think it asks for, right? Like, that's kind of like a Matrix level I'm getting. Like, just the city alone, rendering that huge dystopian city of the future. The incredible motorcycle chase scenes, like the lighting. It's going to be insane to try and do that live action on any kind of scale. I mean, to make The Matrix Reloaded, they built the largest set,
yeah,
physical
they did like
set
7 miles of highway.
You have to do, I don't know, something similar, or use like a lot of CGI, like high level CGI to recreate that. And I think it could be done. I've always followed the live action Akira project adaptation, and at one point they put out like a little news bite that they were going to set it in a totally different setting, like it was going to be in Neo America instead of Neo Japan, and that was a whole thing. Like, what? In case you're not familiar with Akira, I'm not going to give you a whole rundown of it, but just as a comparison, it's a lot like, people call it Anime Space Odyssey 2001. It's just a landmark bit of science fiction, cyberpunk kind of content, and it's a respected piece of work. So to bring it back, I'm excited to see them bring it back and bring it to maybe a wider audience, but at the same time, like, I really want them to do it right. You know what I mean? So...
Yeah, just to speak on that, I think that the Japanese element is super important to the context of that story, because if you do any study about why he wrote that particular story, a lot of it has to do with the fallout of the bombings in World War II, so Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And so essentially he is doing a science fiction version of that, where there's this like ultimate power. Essentially that's what Akira is, essentially. Like, we don't want to do spoilers or whatever, but that's like, if you know what if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So essentially the whole thing is themed around Japan and that same idea that, like, well, we just got kind of crushed, and what does this power mean, and we're seeking this power even though it has the potential to destroy everything, and we revere it but we still seek it. And so a lot of those themes like that are, I think, really important, and contextually I think Japan really matters to that story. So I would hate for them to do it in a different country personally, but I don't know. I think we all have some good concerns. It was rumored that my main man, brain fart, the guy that did Christopher Nolan was rumored, before everybody knew he was doing Dunkirk, it was actually rumored that he was going to do Akira and that he was going to do a trilogy. And that, to me, on a visual sense, made perfect sense. I was like, dude, yes, if you're going to get a director to do Akira, get Christopher Nolan. But yeah, it's tricky, man. I like Jordan Peele. I'm just not sure if this is anything other than a Hollywood.
Up. Yeah, I don't know if they sync up this project to the director. It'd be... See where it goes.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Let's go... Let's do this, because I don't even know if it'll actually happen. So let's do percentage over-under. Let's go 62%. Justin, over-under 62% that Jordan Peele will become the helmer of the Akira project.
I'm going to say under, just because this project has been in development hell for so long and has changed directors so much that we really can't put any sort of stock in any sort of rumor about it. We're going to really just have to wait for an announcement to really know, okay, this person is helming Akira. We're actually pulling it out of development hell. We're actually going to start working on this movie.
Yeah. Dan, same question. Over under 62%.
I'm under 2. Peele himself was quoted as saying he had more horror movie ideas that he wanted to get onto the screen. I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised if he doesn't want to jump into someone else's IP right off the bat if he wants to do his own thing for a while. So I'm going to say under
Yeah.
62.
Yeah, I screwed up and picked out a number that's crazy because I'm going under too. I don't
Little
think it's
high.
going to happen. Yeah, a little high. But I think he was actually rumored to maybe be the director of the Flash movie. That could be really cool. So I'm going to go under. Here we got a question though. Do you guys think that some of the reasons it may do well because it's a huge culture film for Japan, but very niche here in America? That's an interesting question. Dan, what do you think about that question? Do you think that one of the reasons is because it's huge over there but not so big over here?
Yeah, I think there's definitely potential. Clearly it's been proven to be, like, people love this movie when they see it. You know, you're hard to watch it and not say that was at least a quality made piece of art, even if it's a little dry maybe for some people. But I think they could definitely do, in the marketing, they could even say, like, the landmark 1988 classic Akira brought to the film for the first time. Something like that, and bring up, like, that retro classic element to it.
Yeah, Justin, what do you think? Do you think it's not going to do well because it's big over there, but maybe not as big over here?
I honestly would say that I think Akira is actually pretty decently big over here. There's people I have spoken to, at least in my personal life, people I see on social media who are like, I don't follow anime, I don't like anime, but I know what Akira is, and I like Akira. So I feel like among maybe certain critics who can help get the word out, that the fact that it is Akira getting brought into live action for the first time are going to help its chances.
Yeah, here's the thing, we'll get off this soon in a subject here, but I think that here's another question. I want to throw this at you real quick, and we'll move on. Do you even think this is a good move for Jordan? Like, you know, Dan, you were kind of saying that, and Andrea kind of speaks to that in the comments right now about how he wants to do the social horror thing. That might be the right play for him, is just to kind of stick with that. Do you even think that doing Akira would be a good move for him?
I don't think so. And honestly, I'm looking more forward to more Peele projects than I am to a live-action Akira adaptation. Akira is so good,
Right.
just the 1988 movie. Just watch that.
Yeah, fair. What do you think, Justin? Would this be a good career move for him?
Absolutely not. If you're a fledgling director and you start out with your first breakout hit, you want to, keep doing what works for you to build up that, credibility behind you so people start to follow your work more. So I would say that definitely to do what you know and keep working on that and keep building a name for yourself. And then once you got that name for yourself solidified, then maybe go and start touching other projects. And I believe Andrea did say here in the comments that he's a little too socially contentious to touch a Japanese IP or something like that. My comment section just crashed on my computer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with that too. I don't think even if he thought it was a good move for his career right now that he would even want to do it.
Interesting. As far as that, I think it's a complicated thing because potentially that's a huge move. Potentially a lot of money. If they spin it off into a trilogy or something like that, it could be cool. That could be a good move for him. But I think that it's one of these things where he has to figure out what is good for him. His unique voice, his unique perspective is what made Get Out so successful. And talent. I mean, he's really freaking talented.
Yeah.
So I think that anybody like that in that situation is going to get offers thrown at them. And look, Warner Brothers, we almost bash on Warner Brothers every week here. So look, they need something, and yeah, this would give a heartbeat to that seemingly dead project, but I don't know if it's a good move for them. But guys, let's move on to our next topic. I think this is going to be a very interesting topic, guys. This is a subject that has directly affected us as a network, and this would be the restrictions on Persona 5. Now, Justin got his copy of Persona 5 on Tuesday, and we wanted to do a bunch of different things of coverage, including live streaming, including doing some videos as he played it and worked on his review. The thing is, the game would not allow him to do many of that fact. In fact, restrictions go way beyond just not being able to stream it, and it points to a bigger problem for content creators regarding fair use. And Justin, I want to get right into this with you because you are our video game guy, and you are the one that understands this this problem. So what exactly is going on with Persona 5, and what are some of the things it's been doing that other games are starting to mirror and pattern, and what is going on with gaming right now?
So let me just state in the beginning before I go into like Alice's whole thing that I really like Persona 5. This is not to trash on Persona 5 as like a piece of work or anything like that. This is just Atlus's move as a company. So far, Persona 5, like 12 and a half hours in, has been a really, really great experience.
Yeah, you are raving about it.
Yes, I am. I am more engaged with this than I've been with a lot of games in a long time. But, so Atlus has basically sent out this ultimatum as far as content for it goes, giving the reason that they don't want content creators to spoil any of the game for them. Well, I feel that if you don't want to see spoilers of Persona 5, you're not going to be Googling Persona 5 like gameplay video, Persona 5 endgame content, yada yada yada. You're just going to be doing your best to avoid that. So Atlus has an in-game content limit, so the game takes place over the course of a year and you play out every single day starting in April. For starters, if you can record video content, you can't play any video content after the in-game date of 7/7, which is like a third of the way through the game. So you can't touch that. Even as far as recording video content goes, I can't use the PlayStation's in-game share feature, and I can't screenshot anything. Even when the game tries to automatically take screenshots of my achievements I get in the game for trophies, it just says you cannot take a screenshot right now. This is blocked content. Wow. I received this same problem with Tales of Berseria, the first game I was trying to review for you guys, but I had to abandon because of that.
Wow.
But Persona 5 did give me a little more leeway. I was allowed to record the first 10 minutes of the game, which I'll be showing up with an in-progress review. As far as their specific limitations on video content go, you can post as many additional videos as you'd like. They have to be at least 90 minutes long. No major story spoilers, but we'll leave that to up to your good judgment. If you need some guidelines, avoid showing or spoiling ending segments of the first 3 palaces. While you can show initial interactions with Yusuke, avoid his awakening scene and the whole deal about something related to him. Don't post anything about certain student investigator. You are allowed to grab info from the first boss fight, but you aren't allowed to capture any info from other boss fights. You cannot focus solely on cutscenes or animated scenes, and your videos should prominently feature dungeon crawling or spending time in Tokyo. In the event that you do decide on streaming video content, any of the video guidelines above apply except length. And if you decide to stream past the 7/7 hard date, Atlus will issue you a content ID claim or a channel strike / YouTube account suspension.
Holy crap. Yeah, that's some big deal. So here's the thing. So they're saying all of this, and they're claiming that the reason they are doing this is because of spoilers. That's their statement, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that is their reasoning behind this. And
are you buying that, Justin?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So this kind of is something we've been talking, because we talk obviously a lot about content, creating content, and what we're all working on for the channel. So this is not an isolated incident. This has been going on in gaming. This is similar to something that's going on with Nintendo, correct? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the Nintendo Creators Program has also put another hitch in our attempts to review games. So basically we can't show you guys any Nintendo footage without Nintendo's express consent. We have to basically contact Nintendo and apply to be within their creators program. And if they accept us, we are allowed to show you any of their content, be it in a game commentary or anything like that, even if what we're doing completely falls within fair use. Nintendo will also take a cut of the ad revenue because they want to.
Yeah, and when we first talked about that, that's absolutely crazy. We were discussing this, and the thing is, it's obviously just illegal. It's not. But there's international law. There's laws for other countries and stuff. So it's not as clear cut as that. But YouTube is a American company, so it's a very interesting issue. Dan, weigh in on this, brother. What do you think is going on here? What do you think is the future of this issue being resolved? What do we need to do as content creators, and what do you think some of our viewers should do to voice their opinions about this?
All right, so the these companies see these video games and pieces of art as, revenue, as direct assets. And they are under the opinion that by creating content involving those games with footage or spoilers, that'll reduce the value of their asset over time. So they're trying to not have their value be devalued by having people spoiled and then not buying the game or enjoying it via someone else playing it. This is pretty out of touch with how most content creators feel at the moment. Even small-time YouTubers sort of revel in the memes. If people take your content and then start posting GIFs of it or clips of it, it brings people back to your original channel. And that works on such a micro level in new media that it is absolutely responsible for promotion and effective marketing in big media. So the more people who are playing your game and creating videos that are called "Let's Play This," the more people are going to want to play this, and that's going to drive up sales of your game, which will have more people creating content of it, which will drive up sales. It repeats itself. It's different from pirating. Nobody's stealing this game to play it for free and then via YouTube. I mean, people are going to do that, but they're not going to do it via YouTube. And then, of course, this does completely negate fair use. I mean, it would be a little muddy. Just raw streaming the game with no content you might have an argument there that's not transformative enough to qualify as fair use, but any kind of critical work or review would absolutely be fair use of anything, of a movie. You could take a Hollywood movie and just put in a 2-second clip of it because you're doing a review and it's fine. There's no required length under copyright law. There's none of that. There are 3 elements, and the main one is that it's transformative in nature, and a critique is inherently transformative. It's been proven time and time again. So the Nintendo's Creator Program is a big pile of trash that completely ignores fair use, and it's garbage. So we're going to do our best to kind of work around that. I have no plans on signing up for the Nintendo Creators Program. I'll happily demonetize my Nintendo videos and just show as much Nintendo content as I want, or I will just not show Nintendo content. So that's my opinion on it.
To address Persona 5 directly, I have something here from Dakota. It's counterintuitive that a game that relies so heavily on visuals and style should be blocked from sharing. And I agree. Persona 5's art style, the way it handles even the tiniest details, from its menus to its battle screen to everything, it's so visually appealing. It's so great. You can just sit there and watch that game and just watch all the little things even the UI does and be entertained by it. So by limiting is showing people, hey, look how unique the art style of this game is. Look how visually appealing it is. For a game series that is arguably fairly niche like Persona, I feel like that's nothing but a detriment.
Yeah, I agree. I think that what's going on here is it's a bigger issue than even fair use. The fair use thing is the flag that we like to carry as content creators, and obviously we're able to do that, and it's important that we do that. But I think the bigger issue here is just these old paradigms that these businesses have, and I don't want to say that this happens a lot for Japanese companies, but it straight up just happens a lot with Japanese companies. They don't understand the way new media is working, and that all of this stuff is really word of mouth, and it's really positive for their brand and for their product. Now, not always the case, right? Because if the product's crap, then people are going to poop on it, and that's bad for them. But essentially, especially with Persona 5, it would appear as though you have nothing but good things to say about this game and to show about the game. But because of this problem and this thing that they have put into the game to prevent you from being able to share it, they have created a problem. And I think that it happens in a lot of different industries and a lot of different business, but these people don't understand the benefits of some of this stuff, and they see the potential for people like us to let's make a little bit of money off of it, and they just feel as though they are somehow entitled to that money. But what they don't realize is the upside for them, like the ROI on real nerdy people like us saying that this stuff is dope, is so much bigger than the revenue that we can make off of it.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Absolutely.
So That's
I
like
mean, if
my
Atlas
thing.
wants to pay me to just record videos and gush about Persona 5 and give me that reason, come on, Atlas, pay me. Come
I
on,
know, right?
let's go.
Like,
That's fine.
yeah,
I'll
let's
do that. You could
Yeah.
even argue that, let's take, for example, Five Nights at Freddy's. That game would not have been successful if it was not for YouTube. And I will
Absolutely.
stand by that completely. You would not be seeing Five Nights at Freddy's toys and Hot Topic and at freaking Target and Walmart. You can buy Five Nights at
Walgreens.
Freddy's swag. Yeah, Walgreens.
My Walgreens has
Five
Five
Nights at
Nights at
Freddy's
Freddy
swag.
figures and stuff. Yeah, so
Would
Nice.
that
It's all
have
over the
been as
place.
successful if popular streamers like Markiplier and PewDiePie and all them had not streamed Five Nights at Freddy's? No.
Right.
It would have just been a small indie game on the Steam store that a lot of people would have gushed about, but would not have turned into the cultural icon that it is today, were it not for content creators.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so shooting themselves in the foot, and they don't understand new media. They don't get it. Like, so I think that's the real issue at play. But like, just to speak on the Nintendo thing, just really quickly, it's absolutely absurd. It just shows this like complete lack of understanding, and honestly, it really paints them as a villain. And I really am weirded out by these companies that have these huge brands and do a lot of revenue, and how they sometimes will say things or do things that totally vilifies them. And I almost feel like they peacock and they're like, well, what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, this is not the 1980s. Like, what are we going to do about it? We're going to literally tell everybody we know that you suck, and that's going to affect you. So I don't know. I think that this whole issue is really weird. The bottom line is this: we're going to work around. We're going to figure it out, right? And we're going to get out that content for you. And this is kind of an this battle we fight all the time. Like when we did the Spider-Man review, it got flagged right away. We appealed it. We won that case, and we will continue to do that. But when it comes to games specifically, it feels as though these like writing that into your code, making that a part of your game. Damn, that's bold. Like, that is a bold block of that kind of content, which is crazy because it shows that they're aware of what's going on, but it also shows they have no understanding of what's going on, which is a problem for businesses and brands. But any last things you want to say, Justin? Look, you are the video game guy. You're the one dealing with this problem the most. Is there any last things you want to say, maybe a note to the people watching as what they can do to try to solve this problem?
As far as solving this problem, look, I don't want to say don't support Persona 5, because Persona 5 is a great game and I want people to buy it so I can get another one. So you can have Atlas give me another one that doesn't take 8 years. But, you know, voice your opinion. Be smart about it. If other content creators are watching, maybe tell Nintendo, you know what, I'm going to talk about your Nintendo games, but I'm not going to show any Nintendo footage, and you're going to have to deal with it. I'm going to get my opinion out there, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And
Yeah.
take that. And if anyone out of any sort of wild fantasy world, if anyone from Atlas or Nintendo is watching, and if any other critics are watching, this is to you companies, stop making my job harder. Please. Yeah. Most of the time, I'm just trying to help you, and I'm doing it because I love to do it. Please stop making my job harder. Please.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's real talk, and I know personally that there's a lot of people on those corporations watching right now, so you know that advice is free, so you know you guys are welcome. Real quick, before we get into our next topic, which is Star Wars, baby. Oh my god, I'm gonna nerd out so hard. But essentially, I wanted to say, just again, for the people that are watching, look, stay tuned, guys. Doing a giveaway at the end of the show. I went to an IMAX screening of 25 minutes of the new Transformers movie. I did a video on it if you want to hear my thoughts. But the bottom line is this: I have these posters. I'm giving away a poster on today's show. We're going to ask a trivia question at the end of the show. The first person to answer it in the comments section, boom. As long as you're in the continental United States, I'm shipping out that post to you this Monday. And it's actually a pretty dope poster, so I think you'll like it. But let us get into our next topic. And this is all about the likelihood of an Obi-Wan standalone movie. Now, this actually has been heavily rumored for a long time, but it's never been more of a possibility than right now. There was a statement made earlier in the year about the news of the Obi-Wan movie being held back because of the role he has yet to play in the current saga films, and now many outlets that are claiming to have very good sources, are saying that this Solo film is going to be announced at Star Wars Celebration next week. Newsflash, I am going to Star Wars Celebration, and I could not be more happy about that. It's going to be awesome, but it's also going to be awesome for people that follow the Den of Nerds. I'm going to do a ton of content from the show floor, back at my condo, all sorts of stuff. Going to be networking with some people, going to do some stuff with the guys over at the Rebel Scum podcast. They do great content on YouTube. Check them out. And a variety of other people. That and all of us, these two guys and myself, are all committed to ramping up our Star Wars content as we move towards The Last Jedi at the end of this year. So you're going to be getting a lot of Star Wars stuff. We wanted to do a Star Wars topic on today's show. So we're going to be talking about the possibility of an Obi-Wan film and the possibility of Ewan McGregor returning as Obi-Wan for this film. So Dan, I want to start with you. What do you think about this news? Does the prospect of an Obi-Wan film excite you? And what do you think it means for the overall Star Wars story?
And I'm really excited about it. Obi-Wan Kenobi, excellent character. Even throughout, I've noticed this is a phenomenon. You know, the prequels, really a lot of contention there. You know, really hot button Star Wars topic as far as those go. No one leads their I hate the prequels argument with, man, Obi-Wan Kenobi was garbage. You know what I mean? Even people who don't like the prequels like the prequel Obi-Wan Kenobi. So seeing him again, kind of like, and this is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, this is his kind of time living on Tatooine, right? Watching over
Correct.
Luke as he
That
grows
is what's
up.
heavily rumored. Yep.
Okay, so that is going to be awesome. And now, help me. You're the Star Wars guy, so help me piece this together. We recently had that Star Wars Rebels where Darth Maul fought Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine. Wouldn't that have happened in the same time frame as this movie is trying to say, or is this they came back to Tatooine after all of Return of the Jedi? And when does Rebels take place? After Return of the Jedi?
Right. So they have yes.
Okay.
No.
Well, no. Rebels takes place before A New Hope, and actually before Rogue
this
One.
would be the approximate timeline. So could we see Darth Maul lightsaber fight?
You know, it's
Kenobi?
funny. I actually had that thought last night as I was watching it. First of all, here's what's really crazy. I'm going to kind of put this out there. I think Dave Filoni is going to do a live action movie, and it's possible that Kenobi episode on Star Wars Rebels was like his showcasing or his preview for what the Kenobi movie could look like, which I love that episode. It's very cool. But I think Filoni is going to have a big part to play in the organization of this movie, whether or not he's actually at the helm creatively. So to answer your question directly, though, there's a 19-year gap. Okay, there's a 19-year gap in there. And it depends on where exactly that episode in Rebels falls. But yeah, it's perfectly possible that we could see that same Darth Maul fight in the Kenobi movie. But what I think is interesting is if you go back to the comments that were made earlier this year where one of these sources kind of said that part of the reason that we're not hearing more about the Obi-Wan film is because basically they're not done with him in the saga films. And this kind of led people to believe that, wow, Rey could be a Kenobi. And that's possible. It could be that case. But either way, if Kenobi is playing some kind of a bigger role in the overarching story of Star Wars, perhaps there is something that happened on Tatooine, or maybe he left Tatooine for a short period of time, and perhaps that thing is what this movie will focus on. But the rumor is that, yes, this story will take place on Tatooine, between the end of Sith and Rogue One and A New Hope. So that's kind of to answer your question. But Justin, what do you think about this, man? I mean, the old master of Darth Vader having his own movie. What do you think about that?
Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. Obi-Wan is excellent, and Ewan McGregor's portrayal of him is excellent. And if your theory that Dave Filoni will be coming in and making this live-action movie, also excellent. Dave Filoni did so much to expand Obi-Wan's character in the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And added so much depth and complexity to an already excellent character. So I would definitely love to see where he's able to take Obi-Wan in this. We also have the benefit of time being on Ewan McGregor's side. You know,
yes.
He's older. Obi-Wan's going to be older. They're not really going to have to deal with a lot of makeup or a lot of anything like that. They can just basically play him as he is. And I would really hope, and I feel like this is going to happen because Disney has just been striking lightning with Star Wars ever since they acquired the property. If they can just take all of the cues from the Clone Wars that like everyone loves about Obi-Wan Kenobi's character and just project that onto a character in the Obi-Wan movie, then that's going to end up playing really well. And after watching Clone Wars, it's really easy to see how Obi-Wan got that whole, crazy old man shtick in the original trilogy.
Yeah, man. It's funny. One of the things that's cool, so in the Star Wars comic, they've done a couple of different times where they'll focus on Ben, because he's no longer Obi-Wan when he goes to Tatooine or whatever. And one of the lines that was really cool, I think it was literally in Star Wars issue number 7, and I could be off here, but it focuses on him watching over young Luke, and he says, "It was hard to be a Jedi, but it was even harder not to be a Jedi." And I think that one of the things that could be cool is, like, in the name of his mission, which is really just to protect Luke, he probably had to see some really evil stuff going on and not intervene, right? Because he could compromise what his actual goal was. So I actually would prefer if they did this movie a little closer to Sith than to A New Hope, and I'd like to explore that, like him as a character having to figure out how does he deal with wanting to stop all of these things. And also, here's what's really cool about this. I don't see a lot of people running with this, but here's what's the dopest dope when it comes to the shit is he is convening with Qui-Gon. He is learning from Master Qui-Gon on Tatooine, presumably from the Wills. Okay, now that's deep cut nerdy stuff, and like, trust me, you're gonna get to know all that stuff. We're doing a bunch of content about canon on the channel, and we're gonna inform you guys and teach you guys all about this stuff. But the Wills play a crazy important role in the history of the Force and potentially the history of Snoke. So it is very interesting that they could do this movie and they could show that, right? They could show him learning from Qui-Gon, who learned from the Wills, and start to tie in that overarching Snoke thing into canon. So I think that would be really cool. Dan, what do you think about that and the potential for that to be seen on screen?
That sounds dope as hell. Yeah, I have to fully agree. I mean, like I said, I love Obi-Wan. I'm totally down to explore that time frame more. Tatooine is such a, notable place in Star Wars, but I feel like we've still only seen like a small fraction, so it'd be cool to see some more of Tatooine, hopefully a little bit more of a Mos Eisley scenario and not just expanses of desert, which I'm sure would be great, but some more the people of Tatooine would be an interesting setting.
I don't really like sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. So I want a little bit of that, but not too much of it. Justin, what do you think about the possibilities of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan being in this film and kind of exploring a little bit more of that training with the Force Ghost?
Isn't Liam Neeson pretty much done with Star Wars? Do you really think he'd come back and reprise his role as Qui-Gon Jinn?
Here's what's interesting. Qui-Gon was never able to actually hold form as a Force Ghost. He was only able to project his consciousness back. So in the Clone Wars, when he's convening with Yoda, and presumably when he's convening with Obi-Wan on Tatooine, there's no form. So we could get someone that sounds a lot like Liam Neeson, I guess is where I'm going with this, or just have him come in and do audio stuff. So the potential's there for that. I don't know if he's done with Star Wars. I'm hoping he shows up at Celebration for the 40th, because it's the 40th anniversary of Star Wars 2, and a lot of cool people are coming. Like Hayden Christensen was just announced, and what was really cool for me as a fan was that people were happy about that. Everybody, even people that were prequel haters, were happy that Hayden is coming to Celebration.
Man, that's good. I feel like Hayden gets such a bad rap, and most of his performance as Anakin just comes from being given a really bad script.
Nobody could have read that and won an Oscar for it. So,
yeah, man. I mean, it's funny. I was actually just watching. I was just watching a Rebel Scum podcast, the latest episode, and they were going into that a little bit. They were talking about Hayden, and they brought up this really cool point where it's like, if you just take the dialogue that he says, literally, Hayden Christensen says in Attack of the Clones and in Sith, and match it up to some of the lines that Vader says, it's actually legitimately consistent. Like the way that Anakin robotically says master to Obi-Wan a lot and says, I'm sorry, master, and like kind of talks like that. If you put a voice, like a reverberator, like a Vader effect maybe in Audacity or something, it will literally sound just like Vader. So that's crazy. Like, I think that on some levels, Hayden Christensen's performance as Anakin and the writing was actually like super accurate to that character. But we as fans just didn't like it. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what it comes down to. So it's an interesting thing, man. I am a prequel sympathizer. I don't think they're great movies. I think they're great stories. I really do.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm hoping to see Hayden and getting a lightsaber duel with him or something at Celebration. It could be really cool. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much all we have on the Star Wars topic. Look, I could obviously go on about Star Wars for a long, long time. Any last things that you guys want to say about the possibility of an Obi-Wan movie? Oh, and guys, if you're just chiming in, and Justin, man, it's good to see you. It's good to see you in the comments section. What is up, my man? But if you guys aren't aware, I'm doing a giveaway at the end of this show. I'm going to ask a trivia question. But the first person to answer that question in the comment section is going to win a Transformers poster from this IMAX screening thing I went to on Tuesday. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And any last words, guys, about the Obi-Wan standalone film? Justin.
Please let me get Obi-Wan popping into a room full of like Tatooine scum when he's looking for information. Just look at them and go,
there has to be.
Well, hello there.
Yes. No, that would be brilliant. Because that's the thing, right? He can do things like that, but he has to be sneaky. So there's this potential for like almost Jedi wet works, right? Where he is doing stuff, but he can't be seen as the Jedi. So that's cool. Fucking sweet point to bring up. But Dan, last things about the Obi-Wan film. What do you think, brother?
Well, I just want to point out that based on their release schedule, it's kind of estimated to come out around the 2020 mark. So this would be a good chunk in the future before we see that actually come together. But it would be pretty cool, and I would especially like to see Obi-Wan kind of like making his hermit hut, like his little cave thing. Like, how does he home make that? Why isn't it nicer at this point? You know what I mean? So we'll see.
I know, right? Yeah, no, that's a good point. That would be kind of cool. All right, so, and feel free, guys, anybody watching the show, feel free to chime in with some questions and whatnot. So we're doing this new segment here on the show, and guys, I'm just going to throw it to Dan. Dan, what's up with this new segment?
All right, man. So we were combing through topics, and here at the Nerdy News Hour, we like to hit you with big Volume 1 topics that are going on during the week, but sometimes there's so many little gems that we have to thumb through the back issues. So we're going to kind of take 4 or 5 topics here and crunch it into about 5 minutes and just blast through and say what we think. Our theme this week is animation, kind of a cartoon vibe. There's a lot of dope cartoons playing right now, and a lot of stuff that's coming out soon that's going to be awesome. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the long-awaited return of Rick and Morty. Came onto Adult Swim the first of the month, not an April Fool's joke, and it just replayed the whole evening after a couple of great bumps. And just real quick, Josh, what was your favorite bit from the episode?
Oh man, there's so many good ones. Like honestly, that was an incredible episode. I love Rick's whole plan and how it all transpired and how he's like beaming into the other brains as they're all wasting each other.
I'm gonna take
and I
a
thought
shit.
that was, yeah. I mean, I thought that was really cool. Like, I gotta go take a shit. Yeah, there's so much to love. But obviously, the end, and his monologue and him explaining it. His whole plan. He's like, I took over the whole family, and I want that Szechuan sauce on. Like the ending. So I can't say there was anything better in that, but there was a lot of really funny stuff.
Justin,
in there,
same question. What was your favorite bit?
Oh my gosh, the flashback, because I feel like there's so many more layers there. Like when he's showing the government agent like the flashback of that moment in time, and he claims that it's a false memory that he created himself. I really don't think so.
We'll
don't
definitely
think
have to see where
memory.
that goes. So great start to the
definitely.
third season. My favorite part, easy. Pickle Rick! So good. I turned myself into a pickle!
I know, right?
Alright, so let's go on to our next topic. Classic Teen Titans. This is pretty cool. Some big news as far as, cartoons go. There's like a big fan base here. You probably shouldn't get that excited, though, because it's not a pure go-back to the Teen Titans cartoon that we all know and love. Instead, this is a short animated movie. It's about 80 minutes long. It's called The Judas Contract, and Josh tells me it's based on one of the best Teen Titans storylines there is. Can you tell us about that comic storyline, like what we can expect?
Yeah, just really quickly. I mean, this is so many great things came out of the Judas Contract. I mean, it's Marv Wolfman, it's dark, gritty stuff. It was a shift towards a darker side to DC. I mean, we essentially get Nightwing out of this thing. Deathstroke becomes an ultimate villain out of this thing. There's a lot to love in the Judas Contract, the comic book run. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a comic book fan, you know about the Judas Contract. It's legendary. So.
That's pretty cool. Justin, do you know anything about Judas Contract, and what do you think about? Do you have high hopes for this movie?
I actually have not read the Judas Contract, but with everything Josh has said, like Nightwing and Deathstroke are two of my favorite parts of the DC mythos. So I'm actually kind of ashamed that I haven't read the Judas Contract, but I'm excited to watch an animated movie run of it. And DC's animated movies are legendary. They're
awesome.
That can definitely
almost
be said.
always good.
And so if you're like me, if you're still hungry for some good animated Teen Titans, we can't recommend checking that out enough. I'm going to try and watch it myself. Coming up next, we have another classic character making a comeback. We have the Capcom flagship character Mega Man, who is going to be in his first animated show since the last series wrapped up, I think, about 20 years ago. It's quite a while since the last animated Mega Man. This show is going to be made by the same creator of Ben 10 and Generator Rex, so both of those shows kind of had their ups and downs. And Josh, are you down with Mega Man? Do you know anything about the IP?
So here's what's interesting. So I've never really played Mega Man, right? I've played him in other games, like he showed up in some fighting games and stuff like that, and I like the idea of the character. But I was actually talking to a buddy that's a writer, and he was telling me about some of the stories. I believe it was for Mega Man X, and I was like, dude, what? That's a Mega Man story? That story is ridiculous. Like, so from what I understand, the stories in the Mega Man games are actually really legit. So although I'm not a huge Mega Man fan, I'm actually pretty excited to check this show out. But that's kind of where I stand on it.
Same question to you, Justin. What do you think about Mega Man in general? Do you have high hopes for the show?
Oh, Josh, you got to go play Mega Man X, like, immediately. Mega Man X is just so good. One of the best platformers ever released. I'm wary on a new Mega Man cartoon. Like, I see that art you posted, and I'm not really sure I'm digging the style too much. I know it's meant to appeal to, like, I believe it's kids aged, like, 6 to 11, as well as their parents who like the series. So I don't think we're going to get any of the, you know, crazy plots or anything like that we've seen in, like, Mega Man X or Mega Man Battle Network or anything like that.
It'll be cool to see the character kind of make a comeback, though, and just be relevant again. Maybe we'll see a game out of it. That would be pretty cool.
I don't know if Capcom will ever give us another good Mega Man game.
So for our last back issue here, I'm just going to kind of run through a little bit of the new Samurai Jack. I know these guys haven't seen the latest episode yet. Josh, I don't think, has seen it at all. But we just finished episode 3. Episode 4 is going to come out this Saturday. If you have not seen season 5 of Samurai Jack, please check it out. It is gorgeous. The episodes are more cohesive. It's actually telling an episode-to-episode story, like immediately picking up where the last one left off. Real quick, I was doing some work for the show this morning. I put up episode 3 on my other screen. And what actually got my attention from my work over to the episode was the sounds of Jack pulling a dagger out of his guts. It is so intense. I just can't recommend it enough. They have use of color in this episode that's like the best I've seen in cartoons. So that's just my quick fanboy about Samurai Jack, the new season. Please check it out. And now I'm going to throw it back to Josh for, I believe, our Transformers giveaway.
Yes. So everybody who's watching, I'm going to ask now a Transformers question. And I actually have a couple questions in my mind, and I don't know which one to do. Now, look, guys, I hope you have Google ready. Everybody who's watching, this is how it's going to work. I'm going to ask this question. The first person to get this answer correct in the comment section will win the Transformers poster. I will ship it out to you if you live in the continental United States. So this is the question I think I'm going to go with. Okay, what was the original Japanese title of the Transformers show? What was the original? It's a literal 5-word or more title, but what was it called in Japan. So, if you know the answer to that question, and I'll ask it again because a couple people just popped in. Guys, this is trivia, so I'm going to throw this at you quickly. If you want to win the Transformers poster, answer this question, hit me in the comment section of this video. What was the original Japanese title for the Transformers animated series? What was the show titled in Japan? It is a 5-word answer. So we'll give people some time here. Let me ask you guys this, and don't obviously say the answer, but do you know the answer to that question?
No, absolutely not.
Dan, what
like
do you think?
Speed looked it up. I think I'm looking at it, but I'm not sure. So, not.
Did
no
I ask?
idea.
Did I ask too hard of a question?
I don't think so. If you mean the English translation of the Japanese
Correct.
name, yep.
Yep. The English translation. It's like one word with like an exclamation mark, and then a few words after that. Is that what you're getting?
Maybe not. So I might have it. I might have it wrong. I might not have the answer you're looking for. So
I may have screwed up, guys. I may have asked
see.
an impossible question.
May have shot yourself in the foot.
Right.
no,
It
as
is
soon as
actually-
somebody posts what you're looking for, you'll have it.
Right. So actually, my sister puts on there more than meets the eye, and that is actually not correct. And if Google's telling you that, then Google is actually screwing up.
That's not what I got. So
Yeah, it's not more than meets the eye, although I have heard people say that that's what it is. No, it is not that. Nothing I'm finding is 5 words. Well, whoever gets it sort of right and the closest will be able to get it. And I tell you what, I'll give us another minute here, and then I'll probably have to ask a different question because that seems to be too hard.
In the meantime, while we're waiting for people to type up, I actually have one more cartoon thing we can throw back on back issues that we can talk about really, really quick that someone in the comments reminded me of. So Invader Zim is coming back. They're making
Yes.
a new
right.
Invader Zim movie that's going to be a continuation. And how do you guys feel about that coming back?
I love Invader Zim. That'd be cool. You know what I mean? Like, as long as it has the same sensibilities and the same kind of humor or whatever. And I remember it had this like pulpy kind of thing going on where people, or this, it was cool. People thought it was really cool. You know what I mean? So.
If you watch the little like teaser they have out for it, just with Zim trying to be intimidating and Gur interrupting him, you can tell 100% it's straight out of an episode from back then.
Right. What do you think,
Yeah,
guys?
I
I think
think
I'm going to ask a different question here, to be honest.
If no one's gotten it yet,
You
I
probably
think
should.
you're safe firing off a different one. So just everyone in the stream, be aware. The last question is now nullified. I'm nullifying the last question. There is no winner yet. We're about to do a new question for the poster.
Oh my God, she got it though. She got it.
Did she get it?
She got it. Yeah, but I already nullified it. Sorry, Ashley. So, yeah, that is correct, actually. It was Fight Super Robot Life from Transformers, which is ridiculous. That's crazy. But, okay,
All right.
everybody, so listen up. This is going to be a much easier question. I'm looking for the name of the planet-sized Transformer that might actually show up in The Last Night. What is the name of the planet-sized Transformer that shows up in the original 80s movie and will be in The Last Night? What is the name of that? That's a little easier, right, guys? We all kind of know that, right?
Yeah, this one I actually know because I rented that movie from the library every single week. I always rented that and The Mask, and I just watched them all week.
That's awesome.
Yo, Thomas, if you... Ooh, Dakota got it! It's Unicron. All right, awesome. So, yeah, man,
There we go.
hit me up with your contact info. I will ship that poster out to you probably on Monday just because I'm waiting to give away some stuff from the YouTube as well. I'll go knock all that out on Monday. But real quick, before we end the show, Justin, you have a GoFundMe going on right now. Let the people know what's going on.
Yeah, so my brother and I started this GoFundMe going on right now. So my parents have a dog. His name is Max. He's a boxer. He's getting on in years, but he's still a relatively healthy, pretty good dog. I care about him a lot. And he had an abscess recently. They had to remove 5 teeth, and it was a pretty hefty procedure, but they ended up getting it done. Turns out the first time the doctors went in, they missed a cyst that's still in there, and his face hasn't stopped swelling, and they need to perform another procedure for it, but the procedure's like $1,000. And that's just money that a lot of us don't have. So my brother and I started a GoFundMe to try and raise the money for my parents so our dog can get the operation, because we just really, really hate to see him in any kind of pain or anything like that. So
Absolutely.
I will throw up the link at the end of the live show down in the comments here, and any proceeds we raise above that amount will go to our local Anna shelter, which brings in and takes care of animals. So I would really appreciate any help you give, even if it's just sharing the post for other people to see. It really, really mean a lot to me and my family.
Yep, and I think that it's definitely a good cause. Throw a couple bucks if you got it. If you got the loot, do it. If not, that's okay. Just share the word out there. And I'm not an accountant or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure you could call that a write-off, a donation of some kind. So, put that up for the people, Justin. And guys, if you got a little bit of loot or some time to share, we'd really appreciate that. So we're going to sign off. That's all we've got for the show. We'll be at you next week. We might do the show Wednesday. I actually haven't talked to you guys about this, but we might want to do the show Wednesday or something just because of my traveling situation going down to Celebration. But I'm sure we'll figure that out. We will do a show next week. Look for a lot of content from the floor of Star Wars Celebration. I will be doing a lot of that content, and we're all going to be doing Star Wars stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
Dan, let the people know, where can they find you on social media?
Man, you can follow me on Twitter at anime__Dan. I also have my own YouTube channel. You can link off that from the Den of Nerds.
Awesome. And Justin, let the people know where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Emperor_Justin. I've been trying to post more from there and just, get people excited for stuff that's coming up. And look out here on the Den of Nerds for my Mass Effect Andromeda review that Josh has been diligently working on.
Yes, which should drop probably tomorrow. But, guys, I'm Josh. You can find me, obviously, on the Den of Nerds. I would suggest actually following me on Instagram just because I've been really doing a lot of content on there, and that's where I'll do a lot of just, like, story stuff and live stuff from Celebration. That's Josh Likes Comics with an X, comics. And as I always say, guys, I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!